probably chat. This gentleman, I've known him for so many, many, many years. I've known him. Hi, Adam. Hello, Adam.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello?
Adam,
I'm Gizwa. I'm hearing you on and off. I don't know if you can hear me. If you give me a thumbs up, can you hear me?
can you hear me?
I can now, yes. I could hear you introducing me and then it
Can you
disappeared.
hear me?
Yes.
But I can't hear you.
Ish. I'm not sure why.
Hello, Adam.
Hello, yes.
Hello, Adam.
Hello. Let me check. I'm not sure
Kunjani
why.
mhlekazi?
Hey, ngikhona. I don't know why you can't hear me because I'm speaking here a lot. Check
I
one, two,
can hear you
three.
now.
You
We
can.
had just a technical glitch on my side, but I
Aha.
can hear you properly.
Oh, great. I can hear you perfectly. Ambili.
Good, 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 good. Good to see you, my good friend.
Academy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still having a bit of a problem here.
Right. I don't know. It's you hearing me or you're not hearing me.
I can hear you now.
Yeah. I think it was cutting out as well a few times.
And now, is it cutting out now?
No, I can hear you fine now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let me greet you again. How are you, my good friend?
I'm very well, Mlungisi. I'm delighted to be here.
So
Ngiyajabulile
happy to see you,
ukukwazi.
man. Oh, so happy to see you.
Yeah. No, I'm happy too. I'm happy too.
Of course, I saw you this morning. I saw you this morning. Thank you so much for making me famous.
You are famous. You helping to make me famous. You deserve you deserve, our generation, we've got a lot to teach and we have a lot of good stories. So I'm looking forward.
You know what? Having people like yourself, from what you just mentioned now, Adam, it is very important. It not just only for us, not just only for us. For the people that uh, we teach, people that we speak to, people that we are surrounding ourselves with, which is we're learning from either from us, they learn from us, we learn from them. It's very, very important, and I've seen you over the years doing that.
Uqinisile wena. You're right. You're right. I think we both share an interest in the legacy of South African jazz and also in creating connections with younger people and giving them some of the tools to develop their musical interests and their talent if that's what they choose to do.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It is important. Yeah. Look, when people, I don't know how to describe my music, but people, those that have listened to, they talk about, because they always go back into the 50s. In the 50s, I'm sure you know this history where most musicians, especially Sophia Town days, they used to play in Shibins, places like those. When they describe my music, they will always refer to Marabi style, that influence that is within the music. But I don't know. But we're not going to talk about me and my music. We're
But
going
we
to
should
talk
include
about
it.
you, Aram. We're going to talk about you.
We
You're a
can
South
include it.
African that grew up in London. Just give us a brief of that story.
Well, I came to London when I was 19, and my father was running the music department at Goldsmiths College. So I learned my South African jazz from South African exiles in London, the Manhattan Brothers, Dudu Bokwana, Pinisa Soul, Lucky Ranku, Tebi Lipere. A lot of these artists were active in the London scene. And I was working as a pianist doing like commercial gigs. And then the breakthrough came when I met Ernest Mortley, who I knew from the musical Piri. Do you remember that musical? It was in 1972 at Wits, and it was originally going to be musically directed by Mackay Davash, but sadly he passed away, and Ernest took over as the musical director, and it had great musicians. I mean, these guys were my idols. So that's my connection to Ernest, and Ernest introduced me to Dudu, and then Dudu liked my playing, and then I did some touring and some recording with him. And met Pinise Soul.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? This morning, an old man, 80 something year old, lived in London for many years, called me this morning. He knows your father.
Who is that? That's amazing. Who is that?
His name is Linda Mgole. I don't know if he has another name, but I know him by the name of Linda Mgole.
Right, right, right. How fascinating. Well,
You're probably going to come to East London.
I hope so. I want to meet these people. I want to,
So
go ahead.
you will definitely see him, because I mean, if he can't make it to East London, which is I hope you will, because that's what he told me this morning, that he's going to make a plan to come and watch us in East London. If he doesn't do that, make sure that he's going to attend the workshop.
Great. That's great. I'll be honored to meet him. Honestly, it
Yeah,
will mean a
yeah,
lot to
yeah,
me
cool. The
because
only thing
many.
that
Go ahead, yeah.
The only thing we didn't do it, I just took it for granted because I'm so excited to see you, is to let to introduce yourself.
Don't
Please tell us
worry.
who you are, Adam.
Well, my name's Adam Glasser. I grew up in Cape Town and Johannesburg. I was born in 1955, so I left after high school here and I came to London. That's where I connected with South African jazz, but I'd already was crazy about South African jazz. As a teenager at school here, I used to go to Dorkey House and hang out with Bani Ratchabani and Victor and Tony, people like that. But at that stage, I wasn't a musician. I was just a music lover and played a little bit of piano. But I was, my ears were already very stimulated by what they did.
Wow, wow. Well, you're reminding me of Bogani Daya, which is you'll be doing some collaborations with him. When I played with Bogani Daya's father, Prastiv, Bogani Daya used to come around with us. He never showed any interest in music. I mean, that's my opinion. To me, it was like, because they're very close. But look at him today. I'm sure it's a similar story with you.
That's so interesting because, Bokani, I can't tell you in what regard I hold him. He's an unbelievably brilliant musician. And I'm honored to have caught, a lot of these players, I caught them when they were younger, like Nduduzo Makatini. He did the Joy of Jazz with me in 2013. Now he's a big star,
He
and
travels all around the world.
I say good luck to talent. And it's been my good fortune to meet many of the musicians when they're younger and form a relationship with them. So Bokani plays on my latest album, Adam Glasser, SA and Beyond. You can hear it on, just Google it, you can hear it on Spotify, any stream. It's released by Gallo. And Bokani, a few years ago, came to London with his trio. And I've known him for 10 years. And I quickly grabbed them and we went into a studio and we recorded some tracks. And those tracks formed the basis of this album.
Wow, wow, beautiful. I hope that, in fact, not that I hope, I know it's happening. All the musicians that we've rubbed shoulders with, uh, lack of a better word, you transferred something to them. Because you're talking about with Nduduzo, where you worked with Nduduzo before he became Mr. I mean, look at him today. I'm sure there's certain things that he has learned from you in terms of playing, even about life. The very same thing that has been that is happening even to all the other musicians like Bogana, all the musicians that we've worked with. I'm sure you've rubbed something on them that has made them who they are today. Because I mean, for me, I believe everybody that we meet, we're learning something from that person.
I agree with you. I think it's a very important point you're making, Mlungisi, but I would proviso it with this thing, was that I do a lot of teaching, and my impression is that it's 99% the student. I think the role of the teacher is exaggerated. There's the tradition of, you must respect your teacher. But I can tell you that the kids that I teach in the UK, they know exactly what they want. And I think that our job is to steer them and to give them like a little like suggestion here and there. So, with regard to Nduduzo, my contact with him was brief, and I think you'd have to ask him, and I would respect his answer or Bokani's answer, how much or not they've been influenced by Glasser. I hope the answer is positive, but I think musicians of that stature, you know what it's like. I say good luck to those talents and what they've achieved. If Nduduzo can make it on the world stage, record with Blue Note, I'm it's 99% him. It's 99% Bokani. We might have fathers that helped us, but it's what you said about Bokani earlier. It makes me laugh because that guy is so talented, man. It's ridiculous. His soloing and his feel is incredible. So I think I think it's kind of interesting, but you, I I could talk for hours about this, but let me pass to you again.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about your visit in South Africa, Aram. I know that you've just released an album, as you are talking about. You started with the Bogani in London when he was there. Tell us more about the new release that we've just released.
Well, this album, I've only released 3 albums, and I'm going to be 70 years old this year. Well, actually, 4 if you count the Manhattan Brothers. So, this one took me like about 7 years. I'm very fussy about the set list. I'm very fussy about what tracks go on the album. It takes me a long time. And so the bulk of this album is myself, a brilliant guitarist in London called Rob Luft. He's a super internationally famous guy now. He's recorded with ECM, but when I was working with him, he was still a student. And so, we formed, it's another example of catching someone when they're younger. So Rob played with us, Romy Brautaseth, Spelelo Mazubuko, and Bokani. And we recorded a bunch of South African standards which I think are not given enough attention. For example, Joy, Becky Mseleku, Motherland, Jimmy Gludlu, Caution, Kaifa Semenya. These songs, I wanted to showcase them on harmonica. And then another element of this album is that I have a quintet in the UK which consists of Rob Luft and some guys, and they play a few tunes. Like we do an example of the famous standard, what's it called? Scullery Department. Yeah. So
By
we've got an
Kipi.
yeah, by Kipi Moketsi, absolutely. So that you won't hear anyone playing that on harmonica. Maybe you'll hear many alto players trying to play like Kippy. So I quite like that. And then the other element of the album is that I was very helped in Johannesburg in practical ways by Fitzroy Ngukana of the famous Ngukana family. And I used to go to his place and he used to hire me out gear and we used to go chat and talk about music. And I thought, this guy's super talented and comes from this talented family. So what I did was I just jammed with him a couple of tunes. Like, there's the famous Mrakali, which has got different versions. And he knows about the original song. And he's got a wonderful anecdote about that song. So he talks about it, and then we just jam a version of it, and he sings the lyric of it. And then, of course, the other song that he does is Ndize Bonono. Except, is that on my album? Um, Mrakali, and yeah, he talks about that in Dize Bonono, which is by Victor Nglazulwana. And he talks about the lyric of that. So they're these two, almost, you could say that they were like a radio documentary. They're not like properly produced tunes, but that's an important aspect of what I do is, part of me is a writer, a documenter. I like to interview people. I like to be interviewed. If you come to the UK, I don't have a show, but I'll find somewhere to interview you because I'm sure you have a lot of great stories as well and knowledge.
Talking about Madoda Victor Lazulwana, this old man that I'm talking about that knows your father, they grew up together with Madoda and
Wow.
Lazulwana. They're
Yeah.
next door neighbors, next door neighbors.
Oh,
So yeah, we will tell you stories about him as well, I'm sure.
I love that kind of feedback. I love those connections. It's really precious to me. And my father passed away in 2018, and the further it goes, the less people knew him personally. So this will be amazing to meet him.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll make sure that if he doesn't come, because he did say that I would love to come to East London, but if he doesn't make it, but I'll make sure that you meet him, even if you're going to his house, but you're gonna have to meet him.
I'd love to. I look forward to it.
Now, tell us about your visit in Zanzi. I know that it's more about promoting the album, but of course, there's more to it. You are an educator. You're passionate about South Africa. You're passionate about the development, especially to younger people. Just tell us about that. Your visit here, more than just only for promoting the album.
Well, the main reason I'm here is Concerts SA, which kindly gave me a grant. And I initially was going to do just a couple of gigs in Johannesburg and some in Cape Town. And then I heard of this wonderful friend of mine who's a bass player called Mlungisi Gegana. So I contacted him and I said, of course, I don't want to fly to Cape Town when I'm finished. So I thought, why don't I via Mlungisi Gegana? So that's how this happened. But thanks to you, you introduced me to the wonderful, and I need a shout out here for Kianetse Fotwane, who has fixed me up with all kinds of um, magical extra events. So to come back to the events, here in Johannesburg, I was on Morning Live this morning, as you know, various radio interviews, but the workshops. Well, let me talk about the workshops. She's fixed me up with tomorrow morning. I'm going to Mamelodi to do a workshop for Kafka about the harmonica. Then on Monday, the 14th, I will be at Gauteng Academy doing a workshop. And then the next workshop is a place where you might be familiar, Mlungisi Music Academy. That's the next workshop. And then in Cape Town, I'll be doing one at the Joseph Stone. It's I can't quite remember the date, but it'll be out, and also one at Cameron Ward Foundation. So all of these workshops, I've done many harmonica workshops in Ngisi. I've been trying to promote the harmonica, but the reason I feel it has yet to take off is because I don't have a cohort of teachers. So if I can persuade teachers to use the harmonica as a music literacy instrument, it's not about learning to play the harmonica. It's about learning to play melodies, scales, ear training for younger people or people who have just started music. So you can get a basic grounding in in your music theory. And I've got a simple set of exercises and tests, which if people would, maybe we could make an authorized certificate. If you can pass these tests, if you know a certain amount, you can say, hey, I want a trumpet, or I want a saxophone, or I want to learn the guitar, piano. And then you've got a kind of learning path for people. And it's also these little harmonicas, which I'll be bringing to show you, are only one octave. And I'm going to play it for you. Now, you may think you can't do much on this, but I can tell you, you can do a lot. And the reason that this is important is because it's easy to play, it's inexpensive, and we have a numbering system which enables you to play by lyrics, and it gets you introduced into reading music. So I'm very excited to see if I can interest teachers. That's the thing. You know, could I interest you or a good guitarist or a bass player or a voice choir leader to learn enough to play this so that they could instruct people? And I've got a lot of material on YouTube. I've got exercises because we're not talking about a 4-year doctorate. We're talking about like weeks or even a month where people can go through quickly a lot of exercises and establish like their musical foundation. And then, you know, if we have a little, it gives you a kind of qualification maybe. But I'm at the stage where I need to persuade music teachers that they agree with me that this is a good idea, because some of them may say, and in which case, you know, it's this has not got the sound of an alto saxophone, I can tell you, but it's a step towards that. That's really the rationale behind what I'm saying.
Hey man, Adam, we are very excited, as the team. But of course, as you are saying, you've said this before to me that if you could pursue some teachers, we do have a volunteer with us, a brilliant guy, and I did approach him. I said, "Look, we got to have a visitor who's coming here from London, a harmonica player, friend of mine, and he would love to teach us, and would like us to have somebody who's going to continue after he's left, so that this thing doesn't just happen once and then, it doesn't happen again." And then he said to me, "I'm familiar with the harmonica." And then I was like, oh, okay, well, if you're familiar with the harmonica, then there'll be somebody now who's going to really, if you've forgotten about certain things, we'll remind you so that we know that this thing can continue and then we can teach others, within our circle. Because, I mean, with us, we do have some few volunteers, but it's just a matter of them being full time with the program. Even if they are not full time with the program, we know we've got a schedule so that we know that on a certain day, this is what is happening so that we can be able to move forward. So I am going to introduce him to you when he comes, hoping that, because like I said, he's a volunteer, because we'll never know with the volunteers because they only come when they have time to come. Wish we had money to employ teachers full time, but we don't. We don't have money. But yeah, there is somebody who's interested, who is familiar with the harmonic. I'm sure it will be easier for him, whatever that will be teaching him, for him to just grasp it.
Great, great. One thing that I should add to this, Lungisi, is that many people think of the harmonica as one instrument, but there are different tunings. And if you speak to 99 harmonica players or somebody who owns a harmonica, they've got a blues harmonica. And the blues harmonica has got a certain layout of the notes. And that is great for blues playing, and you can do a lot with it. But what we're talking about here is this harmonica is related almost like to a piano keyboard. And basically, you've got 3 of these in one of these. So, for example, if I play this little, I don't know if your viewers, this is audio only, isn't it?
We live streaming. It's going to be seen by everyone who's
Oh,
following us.
so they can see it. Okay, great, great, great. So just very quickly, I developed my harmonica playing. This is a chromatic harmonica. It's got all the black and white notes of the piano. If I play it, so you can do,
Chromatic.
yeah, you can do something in any key. So you can play on any key. But the reason that this is a brilliant harmonica is because the note layout is 3 of these. So here you've got then, then. So this is like the stepping
Just one
stone.
octave.
Yeah. Now the one that I sent you has got 2 octaves, which I
You
think
see,
one of
it
your
has a C and
relation.
a G.
Yes. So the one I sent you is this. So because this layout enables you to play a lot of songs without complication. Whereas if you try and play those songs on a blues harmonica, you need a lot of different harmonicas for different keys. So nobody is really pioneering this. Nobody's really pioneering this, and I think it has great potential for community music literacy. You know, whether people progress to a chromatic, that's another thing. You know, you're welcome if you want to take that path, but you could learn your music basics on this. You could prove that you have, you know, can pass a certain standard. Not difficult, you know. The stuff that I've got, you see, and there's another approach. If I can continue, is that I don't think that people should be forced to learn an entire song to begin with. This is a mistake people make. You say, you must learn the whole song. It's eborayo. It's boring. In a way, it's much more fun just to be able to go. So everyone is Yaka Linkomo. Okay, so you can play one thing. You can practice that. You can get that correct. Or you can play, let me think. You know that Jonas Gwanga, that great
Yes, yes,
tune.
yes.
Yeah, or and so on. So when I come to do your workshop, I've got these tunes written out like this. I don't know if you can see this, but now what you've got
Yes, I
there,
can.
yeah, so your viewers can see this, and what we've got there is we've got music stave, staff notation, and the lyric. So that's really important. It's the lyric and staff notation they're introduced, but you can see those little numbers,
Yes, I
donsa
can.
and futa. Do you see? So now if I start, like
Oh,
I've never seen this before, I'm going to go to hole 4, and I'm going to, a little minus sign means that you suck, you draw. Then you blow on hole 3, draw on hole 3, blow on hole 2. Now I can tell you something that on my gigs,
wow,
and
interesting.
we'll do this at House 87. You'll see, because I did this tour last year around the UK in the clubs, and in the interval, I gave everybody a sheet like this. I said, "Who wants to play the harmonica?" And people sit there like, "I said, no, come on, try it out." So in the interval, I give them a sheet like this, and I give them one of these harmonicas. And when we start the second set, I say, guys, I just ask 2 or 3 come up, and they play exactly correct, no faults. I've got videos to prove it, and we'll do the same thing. You'll see. So
Wow.
this is the approach. And you know, if you have like a quick win, if I give you something easy to do, you know, if you and I wanted to throw the javelin, you know, so we're going to have a lesson to throw the javelin. So if the guy gave us something that we could easily do and accomplish, you think, yeah, I can be a javelin thrower, or I can play football. So I'm very excited about that approach because I don't think anyone's doing that, you know. So then imagine you're in a primary school. The kid just has to learn one phrase, and then he gets a tick. And then
Wow,
you say to
beautiful.
him, okay, here's a lyric. Let's say the lyric is Lakushoni Langa. You write your own ubalagase. So you write your own numbers. Then you write your own song with your own numbers. So then this, you know, and you'll see I bring clipboards with a pencil, and that's part of the workshop. You know, that somebody's going to write with a pencil, think about it, discuss with their neighbor. So it's kind of very cool. I'm very excited. And do you know, my dream is like if I could see hundreds of kids doing this, I think it would be amazing, you know.
Will be amazing. I hope
Yeah,
we'll get to that. We'll get to
yeah.
that. Adam, hey man, time is always a problem. You know, when it comes to time, it's always a problem. I want to thank you so much.
That's a
Looking
pleasure.
forward to seeing you in Queenstown having that workshop. Just your last word for my viewers, for my listeners.
I would say keep in touch. If you wanted to become a musician, if you want to develop your music, whatever age you are, whether you're 10 years old or 80 years old, consider the harmonica. You never know what you might get.
Thank you so much, Adam. Have a lovely day. We'll see you when you are in Queenstown next Monday. No, next Monday, the following week.
Sizobona ngeviki ensayo. Is that
Thank you so
right?
much. Have a lovely day.
Okay. Bye-bye.
This streets are broadcast. Umameli Bugani FM.